Please do like, share and subscribe and press the bell icon.
Hello my dear students. So in the previous video I have explained to you about the non-ideal solutions. Today we will discuss something about the azeotropic mixtures or the azeotropic solutions. Now before we begin with the azeotropic mixtures, first let us be clear with the idea of fractional distillation. What do we do in a fractional distillation? Now in fractional distillation what happens, suppose if you are having a solution which is having two or more miscible liquids, two or more liquids are there which are completely miscible into each other, and if we want to separate them we subject to fractional distillation. And what happens, that is a liquid which is having a which is having the more vapor pressure, or we can say the one which is having which is a more volatile liquid will get separated first, followed by the next one. That means the one which will be having the volatility will be more, will be collected first, and the remaining parts will be collected thereafter. Let me just give you an example. Suppose if you are having that is a solution AB where you are having two liquids, that is liquid A plus liquid B, and both these liquids are completely miscible into each other, and we want to separate both these liquids. What do? We subject it to fractional distillation. Now just imagine that the vapor pressure of B is more. If this B is more, what happens? This is a more volatile liquid. B will be more volatile, and A is less volatile. For example, so when you are subjected to fractional distillation, the vapors of B will be collected first. So we can show here in this way, that is the vapors of B will be collected first. These vapors, then they are being cooled. So then they are being cooled, and we get the distillate of B. That means B gets separated and A remains behind. Instead of these two liquids, suppose if there is another liquid, that is liquid C for example, then what will happen, and it is the least volatile one. So what will happen, first you will be getting B, after that you will be getting A, and C, which is the least volatile, this will remain into the original flask where this solution that has been there. So in this way, two or more miscible liquids, they can be separated from each other by the process called as the fractional distillation. But now we can just let me show you how does it happen. Suppose if this is your container having solution, that is A and B. So this is what your solution, that is A, solution AB. It is having particles of A as well as particles of B. If particles of, that means there are some moles of A and moles of B. Both are there. Now if moles of A are there, moles of B are there, there will also be mole fraction. There will be mole fraction of A, there will be mole fraction of B. So you may just, in order to just remind what is mole fraction, you may go to the first video which I have sent you some days back. So you will be clear with the mole fraction. So there will be mole fraction of A as well as mole fraction of B into this solution. Now suppose if this container that has been closed from here, if I close this container, these are also forming the vapors of A and B. So these are the vapors. Now suppose if mole fraction of A, so we represent mole fraction of A in this way, mole fraction of A are there present over here. At the same time in the vapors also there are mole fractions of A. This is not equal to the mole fraction of vapors of A. I am representing this vapors in this way. At the same time there are particles of B and hence there are moles of B, and if there are moles of B there are also mole fraction of B over here. So there are mole fraction of B into the solution over here, and the top there are the mole fraction of the vapors of B. So if the mole fraction of B is not equal to the mole fraction of the vapors of B, what will happen? They differ into their mole fraction, and hence we'll find that if we are connecting it to a condenser over here or any container, let's consider that for the sake of simplicity I'm just showing you another container over here. So what will happen? The one which is more volatile liquid, for example B is more volatile, so we'll be getting B over here. B will get collected over here. So this happens because there is a difference in the mole fraction of these, that is mole fraction of A over here, mole fraction of B in the liquid state, and mole fraction of these same vapors. So if these mole fractions are unequal, then these liquids they get collected into this another container, and then the vapors get collected. Then these vapors, when we are cooling it, we get our one of the liquid, and both the liquids can be separated. But when these mole fractions are equal, that is mole fraction, suppose in any case if I say mole fraction of A is equal to the mole fraction of A in the vapor state, for example, then that means mole fraction of A is same as the mole fraction of the vapors which are being formed over here. At the same time mole fraction of B is equal to the mole fraction of B, vapors of B, then we'll find that the liquid cannot be separated. Clear? Now, so I hope now it's clear with the idea that why certain substances they undergo the process of distillation. So let's come back to this, that there are certain substances which undergo the process of which can be separated by the process of fractional distillation, but at the same time there are some binary solutions. Now when we talk about the binary solution, what do we mean? Binary solutions means what? Solutions having the solute plus the solvent. There are certain binary solutions which cannot be separated by fractional distillation. Now what happens in those type of the solutions? That means what? When such a type of binary solution is there, and if you want to separate the components, what will happen? It will boil for a certain, you are heating it for a certain time, and after some time what happens is it starts boiling at a particular temperature. Now when it starts boiling at a particular temperature, the composition of the mixture, it remains constant, and after that what will happen? The composition will not change, the temperature will not change. That means it will continue to boil with the constant composition and with the constant temperature, without any change in the composition, without any change in the temperature. Such a binary solution which boils or which distills over at a constant composition, at a constant temperature, without change in the composition, such a binary mixture, that is called as the azeotropic mixture. So let me just define the azeotropic mixture. What are the azeotropic mixture? What do we mean by azeotropic mixture? That is the binary solutions which do not show this behavior, and the binary solution which boils or distills over at a constant composition. At a constant composition, at a constant temperature. At a constant temperature, without any change in the composition, without any change in composition. such a mixture whose composition will not change even if you are boiling it after a particular temperature, such a mixture, that we call this as a azeotropic mixture. So let us just know, when I am saying constant composition, that means after certain time the composition is not going to change. Now there are certain conditions for a mixture to be azeotropic. Let us just go through those conditions. Okay, so I'll just rub this particular part. Before we proceed with the characteristic or conditions for the azeotropic mixture, let me give you one particular example. Suppose if you are having two liquids, let's consider this is water plus this is the ethyl alcohol Now both of them, they have been mixed together, we will be getting a solution of water and ethyl alcohol, that is H2O plus C2H5OH. We are getting a solution of both of them. Now let's see, we know that the boiling point of water is in Kelvin, that is 373 Kelvin, and ethyl alcohol, the boiling point is 351.3 Kelvin. Okay, and we are taking a constant composition of both these components. This is 95.57% into the solution, and this is what? So this will be the remaining one, that is 4.43% will be of water, and you are with this composition you are making a solution over here. Now when this solution has been made over here, you subject it, you boil it, and this solution, this is going to boil at 351.15 Kelvin. Okay, now when you are boiling it, you just make an arrangement that you are collecting this vapors over here and you are cooling these vapors. The vapors are being collected into another container over here this side. So when it has been, let's close this container. So the vapors are being collected over here. So at this temperature, that is at 351.15 Kelvin, it starts boiling, and the vapors over here, these are the vapors containing again same, that is C2H5OH plus H2O. And the vapors, the composition over here will be same as this. So and they will not also be changed in the temperature. The temperature will remain same, that is 351.15 Kelvin. At this temperature the vapors will be obtained, but the composition of these vapors, when they have been cooled, you will find that the composition is same as this. There is no change. It is not possible to separate these components. So such a type of mixture which cannot be separated by fractional distillation, such type of mixture, such a binary solution, we can say such a binary solution which we are not being able to separate it by fractional distillation. Why we are not being able to separate by fractional distillation? Because after a certain temperature, that is after it reaches this boiling point, the composition remains the same over here. The composition does not change. Whatever is the composition over here, same composition has been over here. At the same time, you will find that the boiling point of water is 373 Kelvin and the boiling point of ethyl alcohol is 351.3 Kelvin. So as you are boiling it, it is reaching near to this one, that is ethyl alcohol, where you are supposed to get only the vapors of ethyl alcohol, but you are not getting the vapors of only ethyl alcohol. You are getting the vapors of both, that is ethyl alcohol and water molecules. And one thing that we are doing over here, that we are keeping the concentration of both of these, the composition has been maintained as a constant. We are taking it in a particular volume. Otherwise, if simply when you subject to fractional distillation, suppose 1 glass of this can be taken, another 2 glass of this can be taken, and we subject it to the fractional distillation. But here when we call something as an azeotropic mixture, there should be constant composition. That is that if this is 95.57%, this has to be 4.43%. That is as calculated earlier, we have to take it in the same composition. Then it forms the azeotropic mixture. So now you're clear with the azeotropic mixture. Let's move with the characteristics of the azeotropic mixture. That is which type of solutions they will be forming the azeotropic mixture. So first of all, they should be the binary mixtures. Binary mixtures. So binary mixtures means what? Two components, that is solute plus solvent. Now which one will be the solute and which one will be the solvent? You all know already there are various criteria for deciding which one is the solute and which one is the solvent. I will not go into detail into this. Then as I mentioned over here about the composition should be constant. Constant composition should be there for the mixture to be called as the azeotropic mixture. Then the component should be miscible. First of all, they should be liquid. They should be liquids. These liquids should be miscible. They should be miscible. Then these liquids, they cannot be separated by fractional distillation. So if it is an azeotropic mixture, it is not possible for us to separate them by the fractional distillation. Then we have to adopt certain other methods for the separation of these components. So these are certain characteristics for the azeotropic mixture. And the last one, last but not the least, that is all the non-ideal solutions. Non-ideal solutions, they form these azeotropic mixtures. I repeat once again, the non-ideal solutions, they form these azeotropic mixtures. So if the non-ideal solutions forms the azeotropic mixture, now let us see in the non-ideal solutions also there are different type of solution. So let's go back to the non-ideal solution. You can just look at it carefully or you can just copy it down. Then I'll proceed further. So non-ideal solutions, non-ideal solutions are of two major types. That is the one showing positive deviation from Rowlett's law, positive deviation from Rowlett's law, and the other one was the solution showing negative deviation from Rowlett's law. Now under this positive deviation, again there were two types of solution, that is type 1 and type 2. There were two types of solutions showing the positive deviation. Now type 1 solutions, they do not form azeotropic mixtures. So if they do not form azeotropic mixtures, can they be separated by fractional distillation? Yes. So can be separated by fractional distillation. these ones, at a constant composition, at a constant intermediate composition, a particular composition, they will be forming the minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Minimum boiling azeotropic mixtures. I am writing in short over here. And the solution showing negative deviation from Rowlett's law, they also at a constant composition, at a particular temperature, at a constant intermediate composition, they will be showing a maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. Maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. Now let's see if these are forming the azeotropic mixture, can be separated by fractional distillation. No, they cannot be separated. Cannot be separated by fractional distillation. What about these ones? Even these ones, they cannot be separated by fractional distillation. So only the type 1 solutions, they are not forming the azeotropic mixture and they can be separated by the fractional distillation. Now let us let me first give you examples. What do we mean by minimum boiling azeotropic mixture and maximum boiling azeotropic mixture? So let's come to certain examples. Suppose if you are having a mixture of, again we come back to the same example, that is water plus ethyl alcohol over here. Two containers having ethyl alcohol and we are making a mixture of it. So this will be what? A solution of ethyl alcohol, that is H2O plus C2H5OH. Alright. Now here, the boiling point is 373 Kelvin. Then here this is 370.19 Kelvin, and this solution which is obtained from this, both of them, if we are closing it and if we, this also, suppose if we are closing it and we have found out the boiling point. So here when this will be boiling at around, sorry, this is ethyl alcohol, I made a mistake. So ethyl alcohol, the boiling point is 351.3 Kelvin and this one will be 351.15 Kelvin. This is going to boil at 351 and at the same time we maintain the composition. So this is 4.43% and this is 95.57%. This is the composition of both of them. Now look here, boiling point of water is 373, this is 351.3 Kelvin and this is 351.15 Kelvin. So whose temperature, that means these temperatures are greater as compared to this. This is less. So we can say boiling point of this, that is boiling point of solution of both these components, this is what? This is less as compared to this water, boiling point of water and boiling point of ethyl alcohol. Lesser as compared to these two values. So this type of mixture, we call this as the minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Let me give you another example. Suppose if you are having, so this was another example 1. Next example, suppose if you are having a mixture of water plus propyl alcohol, that is C3H7OH. both of them, and the solution we have been getting over here, which is having water plus C3H7OH, propyl alcohol. So here, suppose if this is, and all these containers, let's close it, that is, we know that we are subjecting to boiling. So here, this is the boiling point is 373 Kelvin, and the percentage is 28.31%. This will be, that is propyl alcohol, the boiling point is 370.19 Kelvin, and the composition is 71.69%. And this solution which we are getting over here, this will boil at 360.7 Kelvin. So this temperature is lesser as compared to these two. And because this temperature is lesser as compared to the boiling point of water as well as the boiling point of propyl alcohol, this is forming a minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Some few more examples of minimum boiling azeotropic mixture is mixture of carbon disulfide plus your acetone. This is also the same type of example. That is, it also forms the minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Now let us see what exactly happens with these type of mixtures. Now if you remember, in the previous class when I was explaining you the ideal and the non-ideal solutions, I have drawn a graph of vapor pressure versus the mole fraction. So I am just drawing it once again. Let me have a graphical, the graph which, let me just draw it and then I am showing it to you. So as I told you that azeotropic mixtures or the azeotropic behavior is shown by the solution showing positive deviation type 2 solution. So look here, if you remember, that is in the previous video I have shown you this graphical representation of vapor pressure along with the mole fraction. So this was the graph, if you remember. So there was a particular maximum value, that is a vapor pressure was a maxima at a particular temperature. Okay, now, but for this azeotropic mixture, if it is an azeotropic mixture and if you plot, that is if a solution A and B is an azeotropic mixture, so type 2 solution which is showing the azeotropic behavior. If you plot a graph of temperature versus mole fraction, temperature versus mole fraction, then you will find that a place where there was a maximum vapor pressure, if a particular liquid is having a high vapor pressure, if it is having a high vapor pressure, that means it is more volatile. If it is more volatile, obviously it will be boiling at a lower temperature. So look here, this liquid B is having a high vapor pressure as compared to A. It is a more volatile liquid and it boils at a lower temperature. So we have shown over here that is temperature at which liquid B boils. At the same time, liquid A, which is having a low vapor pressure over here. You look over here, liquid A is having a low vapor pressure. If it is having a low vapor pressure, it is a less volatile liquid. If it is a less volatile liquid, it boils at a high temperature. So we are representing over here that is a boils at a high temperature, that is TA. So TA is for the boiling point of liquid A and TB is the boiling point for liquid B. So liquid B is at a lower temperature, boiling at a lower temperature, and TA is a liquid which has been boiling at a higher temperature. So these are the vapors of the liquid, and for this one also, that is for A as well as for B, and this is for the solution. So at a particular temperature, that is a minimum temperature, it is forming a minimum boiling azeotropic mixture at this particular temperature. And same thing, that is in this particular graph, if you see that the solution showing the negative deviation, so this was a graph which I have shown you, the graph which was, that is the vapor pressure versus the mole fraction. And you find, if you remember, that there was a minimum temperature, there was a minimum vapor pressure at this particular point. So when the vapor pressure was minimum over here, and if you plot a graph of both these liquids, the temperature TA and TB, that is at the place where there was a minimum vapor pressure. So minimum vapor pressure means what? The boiling point will be higher, and we found that there was at a particular temperature the boiling point was higher, that is the maximum boiling point. Again over here, because the liquid A is a Liquid with a low vapor pressure, less volatile, boils at a high temperature. We have placed TA at this particular point, and the temperature for B we have placed at this particular point. And at where there was a minimum value, for the vapor pressure, it is showing the maximum temperature over here. And on the contrary to this, in this particular graph where there was a maximum value of the vapor pressure, it is showing the minimum temperature over here. So this is how we get both the graphs, that is for the solution showing the minimum, there is a minimum boiling azeotropic mixture, and this is for the solution showing the maximum, the azeotropic mixture showing the maximum boiling point over here. So these are the two types of azeotropic mixture. This we get from the solution showing the positive deviation from the Rowlett's law, type 2 solutions, and these are from the solution showing the negative deviation from the Rowlett's law. So I hope these graphs, these are clear with you. Now let me give you an example of the solution showing the negative deviation, or the solution showing the maximum boiling point, maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. So I am just rubbing over here. I have already given you the examples of the solution showing the minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Solution showing maximum azeotropic mixture or maximum boiling. Let's come to the examples of such type of solution showing maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. So we come to the first example over here, that is, for example, this is water plus this is your hydrochloric acid, HCl. Now let's consider the composition, that is, this is 79.9% and this is over here 20.3%. This boils at 373 Kelvin and this boils at 188 Kelvin, and the resultant solution, this is a solution containing HCl plus H2O. We are closing all these containers over here. Alright. So this, the mixture of HCl and H2O, this will be boiling at 383 Kelvin. So this temperature is higher than this temperature as well as this temperature. So such a type of azeotropic mixture, we call this as maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. Another example of this type of mixture, let me give you, that this is water plus HNO3, nitric acid. Over here composition is 32% and this composition is 68%. Now this is temperature is 373 Kelvin and this temperature is 359 Kelvin. And the solution which we get from here, that is water plus nitric acid, H2O plus HNO3. This temperature will be, it will be boiling at 392.5 Kelvin. So again this temperature, that is temperature of this is higher as compared to these two temperatures. This temperature is higher as compared to these two temperatures. Look here, I am just showing it over here. This temperature is higher as compared to this temperature. So this is forming the maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. Now what is the reason behind the substances forming the maximum boiling azeotropic mixture? Now look here, there are some bonding between water, and let's take this first example. There is some intermolecular between water and water and some force of bonding, some intermolecular interactions between HCl and HCl. Now in this particular case, and at the same time this solution that has been formed, that is HCl plus H2O, there is also some intermolecular interactions. So we'll find this intermolecular interaction is higher. Intermolecular interaction is higher as compared to the intermolecular interactions between water and HCl. That is this. So I am writing down in short, I don't have much sufficient space over here. So this intermolecular interactions are less. These are less intermolecular interactions between water and hydrochloric acid. These intermolecular interactions are lesser as compared to the intermolecular interactions between water and hydrochloric acid, and hence it is going to boil at a higher temperature over here, leading to the formation of a maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. In this case also you will find that the intermolecular interactions between water molecules and the intermolecular interactions between nitric acid molecules, these are very much less as compared to the intermolecular interactions between nitric acid and water molecules. So obviously this is going to boil at a higher temperature, leading to the formation of a maximum boiling azeotropic mixture. In case of minimum boiling azeotropic mixture, once again I give you an example which I gave you some time back, that is water plus ethyl alcohol. It is forming a mixture of, there is a solution of this water plus ethyl alcohol. So here in this particular case what is happening, that is the intermolecular interactions between water to water and this ethyl alcohol molecules. These interactions will be higher. So here the intermolecular interactions are higher. Interactions are higher as compared to this. That is, over here the intermolecular interaction is less intermolecular interaction. So if this is less, what will happen? It is going to boil at a lower temperature because the intermolecular interactions are less over here, and here the intermolecular interactions are high over here. So as it is forming a solution, this solution which has been formed, being because of the less intermolecular interaction, it is going to boil at a low temperature because the interactions are less, so very easily it will vaporize. So this is how it leads to the formation of a solution, that is the solutions having the minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. So this forms the minimum boiling azeotropic mixture. Clear? So with this, today we have finished with the types of azeotropic mixtures, or what are the various conditions how the azeotropic mixtures are been formed. Thank you, students.